Coming up, how to spot and deal with the fake friendships at work. And then there's new research on burnout. I'll break it down and then help you avoid it and get through it. Let's go. Helping you win at work so that you can win in life. You can't win in life if you're losing at work. You just cannot. I want you making more money, and I want you experiencing more meaning so you can live the unique and significant life that you want, not what somebody else dictates or whatever you fall into. So let's get to this. A lot of stress and tension at work is related to the people you work with. I mean, it's just, it's a real soul sucker, folks. I get it. And you said you want more of this content from me, so here we go. Gallup research consistently finds that people who have a best friend at work are significantly more likely to engage customers and teammates in a healthy, positive way, get more done in less time, support a safe workplace with fewer accidents and reliability issues, and then innovate and share those innovation ideas. Now, that's just a list of some data that shows, okay, when an employee has a really good friend, now they use the word best friend, but, it gets very personal for people, so it doesn't have to be your life best friend, in my opinion. But I think having a really good friend at work, or two or three, there's no question the data says it just makes it an optimal environment, which allows you to have an optimal performance. Okay, common sense. But there's a growing movement of people that are sounding off, and these are people who've been hurt. I'm just going to tell you. So I don't judge them, but I do want to classify them. This growing group of people are saying things like, I don't want to be friends with anybody I work with. I want to go in, I want to do my job, I want to be left alone, and I want to go home. Okay. There's some bitterness there. There is some protectionism going on because they've been burned in their personal life or at their work life in the past. And so those kind of statements are nothing more than protectionary walls coming from pain and past experience that has created bitterness and resentment. So they make a blanket statement about all humans. But the facts are that type of mentality isn't good for you professionally, which, let me remind you, is not good for you personally. It's not good for you financially. So you need healing. If that's you, can I just say, I do want to speak to you and say, if you have been hurt deeply by a leader or by a coworker, that is significant. It is real, and it must be dealt with. You have to get through it. You must take care of yourself. That means getting the help to heal. Because if you don't heal, even though you did nothing wrong, if you don't heal from previous hurts from a leader or coworker, you are holding yourself back. What they did was wrong. It was not your fault. But it is your responsibility to get healing. It's not your fault that you got hurt. It is your responsibility, though, to heal, become better, stronger, freer, more hopeful, more effective. You can come out of this stronger than ever. Well, relationships, friends, acquaintances, coworkers, it doesn't matter how we classify that relationship. The people we spend the most time with have the greatest effect on our lives. David McClellan from Harvard said, the people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure. That is astounding. So just really quick, fun exercise. I want you to look at your entire week and remember in elementary school, we first learned about pie charts? Just draw a circle and just do a little pie chart. I want you to think of your entire week. And I want you to start going, okay, how much time of this pie do I spend with family? How much of the pie do I spend with friends? How much do I spend with coworkers? And you're going to see the overwhelming majority of our time is spent with our coworkers. Now, how do you filter that through what David McClellan from Harvard said? And he's right. This is the guy who's overseen the longest study on relationships that the world has ever seen, studying people from birth to death. What did he say? The people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure. So here's the deal. Here's what I know. There are some donkeys in your workplace, and there are some eagles. You need to make friends with the eagles. What about the donkeys, Ken? They're good people too. Well, say, I'll be friends with you as long as you start changing your habits. Oh my gosh, Ken, how dare you? No, look, listen, I'm keeping it real. I'll hang out with a donkey long enough for the donkey to see what it's like to be an eagle, and then the donkey decides if they want to hang. That's what I'm saying. Let's keep going. There are right friends and wrong friends in the workplace. But make no mistake, you need friends. So that means you better be picking the right friends. Does it have to be somebody on your team? Not necessarily. The idea is, do you have a person? I think it was Phoebe's character in the classic sitcom Friends who said, "You're my person." And I think that is the right image. Who is your person? You need a person that you trust. You need a person that you enjoy being around. You need a person who has a lot of similar values. That's what you need in the workplace. You need a person who's for you, who's with you, who gets you. And you have to be that person for them. That could be 2, 3, 4, 5 persons. Hey, there's no limit here. But at its base, you need at least one really good coworker friend. Now, do you have to vacation together? No. Do they need to be your kids' godparents? No, you don't have to go that far. But the point is you spend a lot of time in that office, more time in that office or in that work than anything else you do during the week. So you might as well invest. You might as well decide, as a human, I am made to relate. Relationships matter. So I'm holding myself back if I'm like these people who say, I don't want any friends at work. I keep everybody at arm's length, acquaintance at best. I'm not going to engage with them as a human. That's what they're saying. Now, how do you know if these friends that are offering themselves to you are fake? We're going to look at 2 characteristics that'll help you sniff out fake friends coming up. Don't move. This is going to save you a lot of time and stress.
Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, that's your talent, the work you love to do, that's your passion, and the results that matter to you, your mission. Then you'll feel more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/clarity.
All right, folks, we're growing, and if you like the common sense, reality-based, practical path forward content that you're getting here on the Ken Coleman Show, and you're listening via podcast, would you follow us and give us a 5-star review? That helps us grow, and I would be so very grateful. Who could you share it with as well? And then if you're watching on YouTube, we'd love for you to like a video and subscribe. Drop those comments in there if you're feeling froggy. I don't even mind if you disagree with me. I like it. Just don't be nasty. Also, I want to speak to those of you who've been listening and watching maybe for some time, or you're brand new to the program, and you feel like you've been passed over. You don't feel like you're getting a fair shot at getting promoted, or you feel stuck in general. You know where you are is not where you want to be, but you're not quite sure where to go. You're worried about the finances involved with switching, worried about maybe the pending recession. You know, you got a business idea that you've always longed to do, but you're scared to death. So a little frustration, fear, doubt. You're just stuck, bored out of your mind. You need a change, but you're nervous about that. My event Breakthrough is for you. We've had 2 great events in Kansas City and Chicago. We've got 2 more coming up, Atlanta, Georgia, May 18th. Anybody in the surrounding area of Atlanta, you got a friend or family member that needs to be there, get them a ticket. Come with them. Dallas, Texas, May 23rd. Tickets available at kencoleman.com/events. What are we doing at the event? We're going to teach you the formula for breakthrough. I'll be speaking and teaching on that formula, and that you can use it any time in your life when you feel stuck. And it's going to teach you confidence. You're going to learn how to act confidently. And then I'm going to be taking your questions from the crowd. Going to be a lot of fun. Very intimate and real and raw breakthrough moments by doing the Ken Coleman Show and the question and answer part live in the crowd. kencoleman.com/events. All right. So we were talking in our previous segment about the importance of friends at work. But then when there's people involved, there's always traps. There's always manipulation. And how do we make sure we're choosing to actually dive deep at friendship level at the office? What are we looking for to make sure that this is the real deal? I'm going to put it in 2 areas for you to where you begin to develop the friends from an intentional connection versus a manipulative connection. So you are being connected with, you are interacting, you are bumping into your coworkers all the time. And so as you're going, you know what, I can work with this teammate, but I don't know that I want to go deeper with them. There could be a variety of reasons why, but it's always around, do I have a legit connection and I want to be intentional because I believe they're intentional, or do I feel like they're manipulating me? So how do we spot the intentional connection? How do we spot the manipulative connection where it's like they're using me? I don't think they're for me. I think they're for them. Well, there's your clue. Let's start with the manipulative. Everything's transactional. How do you describe that, Ken? What do you mean that everything's transactional? Well, it's very rarely truly personal. Now, listen, you spend more time with certain teammates than you do with others. Okay? So if you want to know if someone is the real deal and intentional about relationship, you may have to spend a little bit more time with them than you do now, right? If you're just kind of seeing them like this and you're in an occasional meeting with them, well, you haven't had a chance to actually dive deep. So this is where you have to be intentional to see if they are intentional. Okay? So that's a caveat to this. But the manipulative person, this is the red flag. They reach out to you. They're bumping into you all the time. And it feels intentional, but it only has a transactional feel to it. It's only about work and it's only about them. In other words, hey, Ken, they only come around, hey, man, how's it going? Yeah, hey. You know, they got the stupid little, whatever you call those, handguns. Yeah, the little guns with the finger guns. Hey, man, how's it going? Hey, man, listen, I was wondering if you could do this for me, right? It's something like that. Or here's another one. The dirt diggers. So that first person's that all about me, transactional, trying to suck something good out of you for them, right? Call them the vampire. They're just locking in. I need this from you. They leave you. They're gone. Then there's the dirt digger. Hey, man, what's going on? Dude, you got a second? You are not going to believe what Bob did. It's the only time they ever come around. What are they doing? The reason I call them the dirt digger is because they're either dumping dirt on you in the form of that transaction I just described, the kind of the gossip delivery, or they're digging. Hey, have you, what's going on over there? I feel like I'm noticing some stuff over there. What you got? You know what's going on with Larry? Did I tell you about Bob? What's going on with Larry? They're digging. You know those big old backhoes that have that bucket on the end of it? What do? They dig over here and they dump over there. And that's what I'm talking about. So if your interaction and your relationship is defined by someone who is the vampire, always trying to suck something out of you, they're only around when you can do something for them, or they either want to dig dirt from you or they want to dump dirt on you in the form of gossip. They're looking for something juicy because they're just a vulture. You know what I mean? By the way, have you ever noticed vultures? This is another just brief little metaphor for you. You ever seen vultures on the side of the road? Of course you have. They're always kind of skulking, sneaking, tiptoeing. I mean, they're out there in broad daylight. There's a dead deer carcass on the side of the road, and you see them as your car approaches, and they're all kind of just like picking and sneaking around. You see one show up kind of slowly to it, you know, and then your car gets closer, and what do? They fly away. And if you look in your rearview mirror as you pass them, those stinking dirty birds will just sneak right on back up there. Now, vultures in nature are God's cleaning system. So good on those vultures. They clean up the stuff nobody else wants to get. Nobody wants to drag that deer off the side of the road. The birds do it. But in this metaphor in the office, these people, they're constantly looking to get around roadkill. All right, now let's move to the intentional connection. These are people who approach you because they enjoy talking to you. You have now made a connection around value. So when they approach you, they're talking about your kids. They're talking about their family. They're talking about the movie you guys like to watch. They're talking about a show. I got all kinds of these friends in the office. Like when we talk, it's not about work at all. We're goofing off. Hey, did you see this latest golf Instagram video? I'm bad for that. I'm always watching these silly golf videos. You know, it's just genuine in its values exchange. Like we value the same things. We like the same things. We're on the same team, but man, we're going to check on each other. How you doing? Everything okay? It's that friend that's on the team, and you may not spend a ton of time together, but when something's going wrong with you or you got to do something, they go, dude, take off. Go. Don't even sweat it. It's a genuine caring for someone else. And when someone acts interested and is interested and they value you in the way they treat you and you value them, this is an intentional connection. And that's how you know I can go deeper with this person. I can trust them. So you can't trust the dirt digger. You can't trust the vampire. But you could trust somebody who is just genuinely interested in you. They care about you. They enjoy being around you and you them. And you don't have to worry about being burned by that person. They're a good person. And you need that person. You need to be able to say, hey, man, I just had the worst meeting with my leader. I feel like crap. Can we go walk around the building? I need some perspective. Oh, that literally could save your life over time.
Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? You're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. If you need to make a move, you'll even get practical next steps to keep you moving forward. Listen, stuck is a choice, and life is too short not to do what you were created to do. To take the quiz, go to kencoleman.com/quiz.
Burnout. Oh, who's burned out? Who's been burned out? Who thinks they're on the way to burning out? Glad to see nobody in the booth raise their hands. Boy, that'd be awkward. So Gallup has got some new data out about burnout. 28% of workers in a recent Gallup study say they are burned out very often or always. All right, that's crazy. Burned out very often, so let's call that the majority of the time, or always. Burned out. 28%. And you may not be experiencing that often. Maybe it's been a long time since you felt burned out. I would say that's true for me. But we all go through it at some point because the data also shows that only 24% of workers report that they rarely or never feel burned out. So for me in my life, I would say rarely. Okay, but I'll share with you in the few times I've been burned out in my time at Ramsey Solutions. And by the way, I don't even really believe it's burnout, and I'll explain why, but I have had the feelings that we associate with being burned out. Okay? Because burned out's just a term and a label after all, but it does imply that your flame is gone. And I don't want to be too ticky-tack on that, so I'll move on. But I'll share with you in just a few moments what I believe are the 5 primary causes of burnout. Okay? So I'm going to give you that in just a few moments. And then what do we do about that once we know the cause? All right, so I'm going to walk you through that. But I want to focus in on the coping strategies. What in the data works according to the respondents and what doesn't work, because I think this is interesting. Okay, so they poll these people. So when faced with increased burnout, they ask these employees, what do you do when you feel burned out? 85% began to think about how they approached similar situations before. So they're going, okay, I've been here before. What did I do? What worked? They're kind of looking to the past for some best practices or something to hold on to, a life hack that they used before. 84% said they remind themselves that they can succeed in their current situation. 83% find a friend to talk to vent. 32%. So I want to stop there. Okay, so those were the very popular. They all said, I've used this before. So they kind of ranked all of the things, right? So do you think about how you handled burnout in the past? 85% said, yeah, I've done that before. How many of you remind themselves that you can succeed? It's a little bit of a pep talk. Personal pep talk. 84% said they've done that. Vent to a friend. 83% said they've done that. But only 32% said they looked for a way to avoid dealing with their current situation. Only 45% said they'd take a vacation. And only 50% said that they choose to spend more time with their family and friends outside of work. Okay. Only 32% responded, well, I try to find a way to avoid this. How do I get out? How do I avoid it? It's fascinating. Where does that come from? I think it comes from a mentality that says work is going to suck most of the time, if not all the time. So you got to grin and bear it. That old phrase, grin and bear it. It's fake. It's unreal. It's just, I'm going to grit. They ought to call it grit and bear it, right? But that's what's going on. Reminding themselves that they can succeed in their current situation, reframing their current situation as a challenge, and finding positive aspects of their current work does work. So they also pull and say, well, what has worked? Not just what you tried, what worked? Well, reminding themselves that they can succeed. That's that pep talk. That's awesome. That's grit. Good. That led to a 42% reduction in burnout. And I want to pause there for a second because this to me encourages me. Because I got to be careful how I say this because people get so easily offended. But I think we have made too much of burnout. And I think we've made too much of anxiety and stress. You know what? Sometimes it's just going to suck. It doesn't mean your life has to suck or the entire day has to suck. I've had moments here at Ramsey Solutions where a part of my day sucked and I pulled it together. That's good old-fashioned grit. Reframing the situation as this is a challenge that I'll get through. Again, this is more grit. 41% said that was effective. And finding positive aspects of their current work situation to focus on is great. Let me just tell you something. That right there is a game changer. You feel down, you feel frustrated on something that's not working or something that didn't work. The best way to not let that just suck your enthusiasm out of your body is to focus on other areas that are working. Hey, this didn't work. It's not working. I'm going to focus on something that does. Now, strategies that involve avoidance or strategies that don't lead to self-confidence fail. So avoidance is, I'm just going to go drink my face off after work. Avoidance is, I'm going to ignore this, not learn anything from it at all, and I'm just going to go along to get along. Oh my gosh, you have surrendered your soul there. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to learn from it. I'm not going to push through it. I'm just going to shut down. I'm going to quiet quit. Those strategies throughout the data were overwhelmingly ineffective. Now, let me give you 5 causes of burnout that after talking to over 5,000 people on the air, thousands more at live events and Q&A, this is what I've determined. There's 5 causes of burnout. A lack of meaning and purpose in your work. You're good at it, but you really don't enjoy it, and the results don't matter that much to you. It's just something that you do. You got a toxic environment. That could be from leadership to coworkers to the organization as a whole, and how they treat people, the rhythm of work, all of that. Third is you're overwhelmed. You feel like your nose is barely above the workload, and you just feel like you're drowning. Let me tell you something. That'll burn you out fast. That right there is the ultimate mental and emotional squeeze. Number 4, you don't feel recognized for your unique contribution. In other words, you feel underappreciated. It's been a long time since you've been recognized by your leader. You don't know where you stand. The 5th cause of burnout is boredom. Man, you find somebody who has had a challenge, they've overcome the challenge, work was challenging for a season, and now they're bored out of their skull. I'm telling you, they're on their way to burning out. Because burnout, if you look at these 5 causes, is essentially a word that we are using to describe exhaustion. Just mental and emotional exhaustion. You don't have any juice. You got no energy. The flame is extinguished. Somebody came up with burnout to describe this, and when the fire burns out, the flame ain't there, folks. What is flame? The flame is the heat, the energy that burns the wood. So if I break burnout down, these causes, no meaning or purpose in the work, toxic environment, you're overwhelmed, you're underappreciated, you're bored. Guess what all those things do? They are extinguishers to your flame. But you can get it back, all by removing the cause of the burnout. The answer to what do I do to fix it is within the cause. You have choices. Fix it. Be brave. Burnout will go away.
Did you know that recruiters take an average of 6 seconds to scan a resume? And that's if they ever see it in the first place. In fact, 75% of resumes are rejected before reaching a hiring manager. Listen, folks, if you want to get hired, you've got to make your resume worth noticing. That's why we created How to Write the Perfect Resume. This free guide will walk you through the 5 steps to stand out in the hiring process to get you your dream job. If you want to get started, go to kencoleman.com/resume.
Uh-oh, a little 80s guitar riff there. That's very exciting. I wish I had an 80s wig on right now. Big power ballad hairband. That would be great. I want to encourage those of you right now who feel stuck. I want to give you a very simple but profound formula for getting unstuck. The first thing I'm going to tell you is you're not stuck. You've chosen to stay put because of the 3 enemies of progress, which are mental roadblocks. Those enemies are fear, doubt, and pride. And I know this show is always in a work context, but as you know, this has, what we talk about here, the work context has financial and relationship components to it. And I'm going to tell you this little formula that I'm going to give you right now, in any area of your life that you feel you need a breakthrough, meaning you're here and you're just kind of slamming my head against the wall, and I want to go here, I want to thrive, here's the formula. But we first must understand the enemies and the mindsets that are roadblocks. Number 1, fear is very simply this. I'm worried that something bad will happen. When I was 9 years old, Alex, I don't think I've told you this story. My mom and dad, I didn't swim very well, and they said, he needs to learn how to swim. So back in the day, it was a community pool. All right, so this is back in the early 80s, good heavens. 1983 is when it was. Summer of 1983, Alex. And to pass the swim test, you had to jump off of a 12-foot high dive. Now, they didn't make you dive, but you had to jump off of it. I want you to know I had 2 fears, worry that something bad was going to happen. The first one was that I was going to die. 12 feet. Concrete platform, down into the pool. I thought I was going to die. I literally did. And if I didn't die, I was going to belly flop, which would hurt, and all the girls would laugh at me. Right? That's fear. Primal fear. Doubt is I don't believe that something good will happen. I dealt with crippling doubt when I started my journey into broadcasting. I was 33. No broadcasting degree, no experience. Am I too late? Is there enough time? Will anybody give me a shot? Am I too old? Doubt. And then pride. Pride is where I care more about what other people think than what I believe. This is illustrated with a caller we had recently. It sticks out in my mind. He called and he said, Ken, I work for the family business. My dad wants me to take over. I'm the eventual CEO. He said that. It's been very, very clear. And Ken, I don't want to do it at all. But I am so worried about what my dad and my family are going to say or do. And that's pride. And we coached him through. You got to do what's right for you, what you believe. Not worry about what everybody else says, thinks, and feels. Now, so that's a quick descriptor of the 3 enemies of progress. They are mental roadblocks because I'm worried that something bad will happen. I don't believe something good will happen. And I care too much more about what other people think or say than what I believe, okay? So how do we overcome those voices? Because sometimes we've got all 3. How many of you listening right now have got all 3? Yeah, been there. I think it was last Tuesday for me. I get it. All right, now here's the formula. You ready? In those moments when I am dealing with fear, doubt, and pride, I must get clear. I must get clear on what is true. I must get clear on what I fear. That's the truth part. I must get clear on what I doubt. That's the truth part. I must get clear on what I'm being prideful for. I've got to get clear. What is the thing that's causing the doubt, the fear, and the pride? Now that I know what it is there any evidence that that bad thing will happen? That good thing won't be able to happen? Do you care more about what you want your life to be than what other people says it should be? Let's get clear. I want to get clear. Now, in the framework of work, what am I good at? Do I have the talent to do this thing that I want to do? Do I love this thing that I want to do? Does it produce a result that matters deeply to me, soul level? That's what I teach. Talent, what you do best. Passion, what you love to do. Mission, results that matter deeply to you. We get clear on that, and when we get clear, watch what happens. When we get clear that we do have the talent, we do have the passion, we care deeply about that mission, we're motivated by it, guess what happens? When I get clear, the voice of fear, doubt, and pride subsides. Confidence goes up. Hey, I need to step out. And then confidence will lead to courage down the road. When life throws its roadblocks your way, you go, nope, I know I'm supposed to be here. I'm clear. I'm confident. So I'm going to stay with it. And that's when courage appears.
According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. If you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is the time to showcase how you are the best choice for the role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just some intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. Go to kencoleman.com/interview.
All right, it's time to coach some people up, and Peter is up first. Oregon City, Oregon. Peter, you're on the Ken Coleman Show. What's going on?
Ken, good afternoon. Thank you so very much for taking my call. Really great show so far today.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm glad I don't have to give you your money back. That's relieving.
Free is a great price. I appreciate you.
You bet. What's up?
Well, recently I was terminated from a job of 15 years that I thought I'd retire from.
Man, I'm sorry.
Thank
when
you.
When did that happen?
Last Thursday. So I'm still in shock quite a bit about it.
Bro.
Trying to process.
Yeah, let me tell you something really quick. Okay? I don't want to linger here, but I do want to talk to your heart. I looked at research years ago, and I'm going to paraphrase the research. But losing a job, being laid off, fired, I don't care what you call it, has the same emotional trauma level as losing a loved one. Shockingly. Because it's like, of course, losing the job doesn't even compare in the grand scheme of things to losing a loved one, but the emotional trauma and the effect is the same. And so I want you to realize that and understand that you got to heal and you got to take care of yourself, because it's a big deal, man. You got whacked.
Yeah, big time. I'm really trying to work through the morning steps because it does definitely feel like I lost something of great value in my life.
You did.
And now I find myself 45 years old with very little qualifications on paper for a real career, and I'm afraid that fear and necessity is going to push me into another no-growth job.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get some facts. How much money were you making?
About $70,000 a year.
All right. And are you single income, double income? What's going on?
Double income. My wife works full time.
What does she make?
She makes $20 an hour. So, it was about $40,000 a year.
Yeah. Let's call it 40. Okay. So, do you have a severance package?
I do not.
Okay. So you're how long? This was what, 15 days ago. So this is you're coming up on your first pay period with no check.
Correct. Yeah. Fortunately, I was smart enough to squirrel away a bit of an emergency fund. I got about $10,000 in an emergency fund.
Yeah, but brother, I do not want you to touch that emergency fund.
Okay.
Because this is not an emergency. This is a tragedy. It's a tragedy in every sense of the word, and we talked about that. But I will tell you, it's not an emergency. And that $10,000, you're going to burn through that really fast. And you might need it for an emergency. And so what I want you to do is let's take as much pressure off as possible. That means if you've got to work a part-time job or a full-time job that is just I'm talking just, it has no long-term strategy, but if you can make $20 an hour, I'm just throwing this at you, $20 an hour at Walmart, who cares? because
Yeah.
of two reasons. One, I don't want you to touch the emergency fund, and I want you to stay busy while you're healing and while you are strategizing, because we got to heal first. The healing needs to be number one. And if you're just working a job or two jobs right now and you're just staying busy, but you're going, well, dadgum, at least I'm bringing home a paycheck and I'm not touching my emergency fund. And Ken's guiding me here. I'm using his resources and we got a plan. Because if you do that, it's going to give you a chance to heal. And then once you have healed, you will have greater perspective. So I'm begging you,
wise.
I'm begging you not to touch the emergency fund. I'm begging you to just go get a job or two jobs and stay busy, because you aren't going to sit around and lick your wounds.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
you're bringing in money. Okay. Now,
Correct.
let's talk about what you want to do. And I my guess is you have some ideas, but I think you're worried that you're not qualified for it.
Correct. Yeah.
What's
I
the
don't
idea?
have any specific ideas pegged down right now. I know I want to work in a non-toxic, encouraging environment.
Great. All right, let's do this.
Something that
Let's spur some ideas. Okay, we're going to go fast. All right. There's four types of work. There's people work. Okay, people-focused work. There is idea-focused work. There is process-focused work, and there is thing-focused work. And what I mean by things is, you are building something, fixing something, inventing something. You understand what I'm saying?
correct. Yeah.
All right. So in those four areas of work, where would you say most of your talents lie? People work, idea work, process work, things work.
With people and ideas.
People and ideas. Fantastic. Welcome to my club. That's the type of work I do. People and ideas. Okay. And you enjoy that work, I'm guessing, as well, because you're good at it. I'm guessing you also enjoy working with people and ideas.
I love having positive interactions with people and leaving their day a little bit better.
Great.
It helps me.
What were you doing previously? Would you call it that, people-focused work?
In a way, before I had this job, I was a waiter, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, but what was the last
more
job?
in food distribution, and the ability to develop relationships with people were very limited. It was very superficial relationships you would develop with people because the amount of time you get to spend with them is
Yeah,
limited.
because you're just kind of a cog in the wheel, and you were a checklist.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but we know that you love people and you're good with people, yes?
Yeah, and my biggest challenge currently is trying to be able to communicate that to a prospective employer. I don't have any degrees whatsoever.
Who cares?
I just have a list of skills and a
cares?
bunch of work
What
experience.
what would you say your top 3 or 4 skills are?
Talking,
Great.
conceptualizing ideas, and organizing.
Interesting. So I'm going to call that communicating, ideating, and organizing.
Okay.
So what kind of jobs out there that are people-focused would allow you to spend most of your day using those top 3 skills? What type of jobs?
I'd like to advise people on I would love to be a financial advisor, but I have no qualifications for that.
I am so tired of hearing you tell me about your lack of qualifications when I'm not asking you about that. What I'm asking you is, what kind of work? No, dude, I'm having fun with you. I'm not really upset. I'm trying to snap you out of this. My point is, we can go get qualified once we're clear, right, Peter?
Okay. That makes sense.
My book, From Paycheck to Purpose, is your new gift, and I'm also going to give you my Get Clear assessment.
Okay.
You have to take the assessment, okay? It's 20 minutes, and it's going to give you a deep dive report on what you do best, what you love to do, and what motivates you. I'm trying to do a version of it now, but I'm going to give you that in the book. Gives you 7 stages to get there once you know what there is. Stage 2 is get qualified. Well, I'm not worried about getting qualified until I know what I'm wanting to do. So where I'm trying to take you is to the ideation stage. There are 3 questions that you need to answer. I'm not going to make you do it on the air, but there are 3 questions you need to answer. Who are the people I want to help? What problem or desire do they have? And what solution to that problem or desire do I most get fired up about? Now, you just gave me one idea, helping people with their investing and retirement strategies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what would you need to get qualified in the state of Oregon to do that? Go find out.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but that's the problem. So you're intimidated as crap but you're also ignorant. And ignorant doesn't mean you're dumb. Ignorant means you don't know.
Correct.
Find out before the day is over. Before you get in bed tonight, you better hear my voice. You better hear me saying, Peter, you better find out what what is the licensing qualification process to be a financial advisor in the state of Oregon. I got news for you. It's not as tough as you think it is.
Okay.
But find out. How long will it take? What will it cost? Is that something I really want to do, though? In digging into this, we go, okay, what's it going to take? And now do I really want to do this? So I want you to use the proximity principle. It says in order to do what Peter wants to do, he's got to be around people that are doing it in places where it's happening. We don't know what you want to do yet. I think we got some ideas. You want to serve and advise people. I think you want to advise people. And I think I
need to help people for sure.
No question. You know? So you need to answer the question, who are the people I want to help? Problem I want to solve. Solution to that problem. Okay? And you need to start hanging out with people who do that. Financial advisors. But here's the deal. Go ahead. I got 30 seconds.
It's not bad for me to take like a part-time waiting tables job or do a side hustle while I'm trying to figure this all out.
No, it's what I told you to do at the beginning.
Okay.
Dude, you're good at waiting tables. Go get 3 or 4 waiting jobs. Make a truckload of money. Relax. Heal. Okay. Dream. Strategize. Hang on the line. I got the Get Clear assessment and From Paycheck to Purpose, all to walk you through it.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.